Alright, time to cast a few games between eXile and Sweede. What's up, eXile? Not too bad, thanks for asking, man. How about you? In the top left-hand corner of the map, it's the red Zerg, eXile. His opponent, in the bottom right, the blue Terran, Bing Bing, or as I will be referring to him, Sweede. So Sweede told me that he and eXile have been practicing together recently. He sent me 4 games of theirs to cast. I'm not sure if they actually did these as a series or if they're just sort of 4 random games, 4 individual games. Either way, I did cast a best of 3 between eXile and Sweede last week, and there were a couple of pretty good games there. eXile did take that series 2-0, but Sweede certainly held his own. Oh, that's awesome. Glad to hear it, eXile. And so eXile's actually just informed me that these were 2 best of 3s. So this is game 1 then of the first best of 3. Sweede had the games labeled game 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm going to assume that they're in chronological or sequential order. Anyway, Sweede also told me that the tips I gave him for TVZ have been helping him, so we'll see what builds he goes with in this game. Looks like he wants to go for a command center with how he's banking up here. Then again, I mean, technically it could be a factory at 100 gas. I'm guessing it'll be a command center. Personally, I always build on the low ground just because with the SCV scout, you'll get there in time to realize if you are being rushed in any way, and the only time where you will have to cancel a natural being built on the low ground will be with a 1-base Ravager all in. Otherwise, even if you're going up against pool first with a bunch of lings, you just don't make an add-on on your barracks. You keep pumping out, whether it's Reapers, usually Reapers are the best choice, Marines, but anyway, you keep pumping out units. You might have to pull a couple of SCVs, but you can always get your command center up. That is if you are doing the SCV scout. If you're not doing an SCV scout, it's a different story. But I definitely recommend SCV scouting in TPC. Anyway, Reaper's going to come up in here. eXile has already thrown down a Baneling Nest, as we can see, which I actually like that choice on this map a lot due to how difficult it is for the Reaper to scout. That's something that Sweede... Oh, you know what? I'm going to put on the music, by the way. But that is something that Sweede is figuring out here as he jumps in to the main, but is not able to get to the back and see that Baneling Nest. So I'm not crazy. There is just no music, even though I've enabled the music. Not sure what is going on there. I'm not going to try to figure it out now. Maybe I'll try to figure it out after this cast. Saratoga, what's up, man? To answer your question, yes. Absolutely, yes. Okay, so the music actually is on. I can hear it. It's just very, very quiet in the background. There we go. Makes the cast so much better. At least I think so. You guys can tell me what you think. So we actually have sort of 2-1-1, but with the traditional 2-1-1, of course, you would be just swapping the starport onto the factory for its reactor, but this is fine too. Getting a reactored starport. I'm not sure if it's going to be for medevacs, if it's for double liberator, maybe one of each, and widow mine production. But stim is on the way, so that's going to be finished at a nice time there. Reactor to pump out more marines. Overlord goes down, but eXile gets a really nice scout there. In fact, he sees absolutely everything. Engineering Bay being added on now. And if Sweede is not planning to go for a third base quickly, then one engineering bay will be enough. If he plans to add that third base soon, then he would want to double eBay. But yeah, as we see a third racks here, we do confirm that a third base won't be in play just yet. Reaper comes up for a follow-up scout. Good positioning on the Ling Bane there for eXile. He's able to push it away. If we take a look at the worker count, actually quite low right now for eXile. He definitely wants to get that up a bit more, but he's making a lot of Zerglings. So he is going to have, quite a lot of units. As we can see here, 36 Zerglings versus 10 Marines and 3 Widow Mines. If the Widow Mines can be negated, then that's actually a very... And not to mention 9 Banelings, by the way. Forgot to say that. But that could actually be a really difficult hold for Sweede if eXile were to press right now. Of course, if he just A moves, then he can eat some brutal Widow Mine shots. But anyway, so this is all to say, really low worker count, all things considered, but a super high army count here for eXile. In fact, he has a substantial lead, as we can see there. Oh, and eXile, yeah, I would love to live cast a best of 5 between you two. That would be awesome. By the way, so I'm not sure if Sweede is going to make it. Oh, let me check where the scan went down. Really nice scan there from Sweede, by the way. Perfect timing on the lair. Yeah, I would love to live cast a best of 5 between you guys. I'm not sure if Swede's going to be able to make the make this cast here for, or I should say to catch this cast, because I know he's in Europe. He's in Holland, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, so I will upload these casts to YouTube, of course, and I'll probably post them on the DoD forums as well. But yeah, whenever you guys get a best of 5 arranged, I would love to live cast that. That would be a lot of fun. It's a lot more fun for me to cast live games than replays. I mean, I enjoy the replays too, but since the live casts are fresh, just makes it that much more exciting. Anyway, so I do like this. Looks Sweede just kind of patrolling around the map. He can pick off any sort of Ling run-bys or small Baneling run-bys. As always, excellent map vision from eXile. That's one thing that, eXile does this really well on all maps, but on this map in particular, I think the map is really good for Zerg because they can they can control these 2 watchtowers in the early game until a push out like this in the early game, and just really be privy to any, oh my goodness, to any attack that comes in. And right as I say that, these Widow Mines get off these fantastic shots on the Zerglings primarily of eXile. Take a look at the units lost tab. Yeah, that was a really rough one to take. And actually, I like this decision here. Not all of the Banelings were necessary for that, but I do like the fact that eXile prioritized taking those out rather than waiting for an Overseer to get over there. In fact, I don't know if he even has an Overseer just yet. No, he doesn't have an Overseer just yet. But really wanted to make sure that Sweede did not get those Widow Mines back with his army. It was quite a few Widow Mines. I think it was about 4 or 5 there that he took out. So again, one problem here that I'm seeing for eXile is the really low worker count. Still not full saturation on the third base. With that being said, though, the third base is just now finishing for Sweede. So it's not as though eXile is at a huge disadvantage or anything like that, but his economy is not as strong as it could be. Another really big problem is this here. The upgrades are much later than they normally would be. Usually eXile is really good about getting his upgrades on time, but in this case it's already 1-1 versus 0-0, and that's going to last a long time. It's going to last well over another minute, and the 2-2 will be finished shortly thereafter. So that's going to be a very challenging time for eXile if these two should engage during that window. Okay, you guys are watching Naka's stream? Yeah. Yeah, I actually fell asleep. It's one of the only times ever I can take a nap. I might take like one nap a year, if that, usually less. I just never take naps, but for some reason I was just so tired and I actually fell asleep. So I had been planning to do this cast earlier. Another scan goes down. I have to say Sweede is in really good shape here. Worker count starting to get up now for eXile still. He wants to add on, I would say, roughly 15 more. At least. Infestation Pit is on the way. So we could be seeing a hive as soon as that's finished. Of course, it could also just be for infestors. Burrow has not yet been researched though, so to me this seems like it's going to be for hive. Additional barracks being added now for Sweede. He's going up to 8, which is the ideal number for Terran on 3 bases. Not sure how I actually managed to, I think I managed to click the ping. My bad. But the Widow Mine count, where do we stand there? Okay, 9. And where are they? Alright, I was wondering where they were because I didn't see them with the bio, but they're back there at the natural. Of course, if there is a push, Sweede will definitely want to bring those with him. It's going to go for a big drop here. Triple drop by the looks of it. Not sure yet where he wants to send that. eXile is really getting his creep spread underway. Sweede will want to push out at some point soon and start clearing that. Macro hatch on the way. Burrow is now being researched, so this could actually be for infestors. As we can see, the lair is actually the structure being used for the burrow research. So no hive anytime soon. I like this a lot. If they're not going to be doing anything else, of course, if they can get in and harass, that's fantastic. But if they're not going to be doing anything else, then waiting in a drop path is not bad. Because obviously they're not, generally speaking, they're not going to be used for army-on-army engagements. And once again, the excellent map vision of eXile is what allows him to get this pick off here. Overlord spotted it, and you just swooped in and picked off 2 medevacs full of Marines. So a really nice little win there for eXile. I do like this secondary drop. Looks like it picks up a couple of drone kills. Nothing major, but just sort of dividing the attention for eXile. What I'd like to see from Sweede would be a push with the main army while both of these drops were going on. But well defended there from eXile. He's been keeping his army in a central location, playing pretty defensively so far, but he is just now getting up to the tech that he wants. He's getting his 2-2 out. Again, there's still a huge upgrade window for Sweede. I forgot, isn't there a double zoom? Okay, that's a single zoom and that's a double zoom. All right, just wanted to make sure. But yeah, 2-2 on the way. Pathogen glands, Burrow of course is finished, and Hive is now on the way. So if Sweede is too passive, he could watch his advantage slip by. His primary advantage right now, in addition to significant army supply advantage, is the upgrade advantage, which is actually huge. Again, it's 2-2 against 1-1, and it's actually going to be 3-3 against 1-1 for a short time. And if Sweede engages during that time, I don't see any way that eXile can hold. He will need miracle Baneling connections, and I don't think 11 will be enough for him. So this is actually a really dangerous time right now for eXile. But again, Sweede will have to press his advantage. If he just sits in base, he's going to let it slip. Looks like he does want to push out now. He's approaching max. Scan goes down. I'm actually not sure where it's going down. Looks like he just wants to scan ahead prior to moving out. That is in fact what's going on. He's going to push across the center of the map now. +3 armor is completing. And again, if he attacks right now within the next 30 seconds, he's going to have 3-3 versus 1-1. And that is virtually insurmountable. Good job there by eXile to try to trigger the Widow Mines, but there's just too much bio here, which easily takes out the first few Lings. The rest of the Ling Bane does come in. Widow Mines are triggered. A couple still do remain. And oh, see, this is exactly what I'm talking about here. This was during the 3-3 versus 1-1 window, and there is just nothing that Zerg can do in that scenario. There's no Hail Mary tech on the way. By that, I mean Broodlords or Ultralisks. The Hive is complete, but still a long way away. Good Fungals. Fungals do land on a good chunk of the bio there. Sweede does throw down a scan, sees the Infestors are in play, but even if Fungals do land on this entire army, that upgrade advantage, even at 3-3 versus 2-2, is just so strong. Good game. Well played is called. Well played indeed. Really good job there with the macro in particular from Sweede. And like I said, eXile's usually on top of his upgrades. Usually does a great job getting those upgrades on time. This one time, he was late and really paid for it. Sweede did an excellent job getting his upgrades, keeping his bio production constant, and then pushing while he had that upgrade advantage, hitting with a 3-3 against 1-1. And like I said, there is just nothing that you can do. On the other side, it's very rare that you'll see a Zerg at 3-3 versus a Terran 1-1, but you will see a Zerg 1-1 versus Terran 0-0 or 2-2 versus 1-1. And upgrades in this matchup, TVZ/ZvT, are really, really important. So game 1 goes to Sweede. We're going to get into game 2 now. Well played game there, for sure. Game 2 will be played on Abyssal Reef. In my opinion, the most balanced map in the pool. I actually don't know what other people think about that. I haven't heard anybody complain about Abyssal Reef. Anyway, in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, it's our red Zerg, eXile. His opponent in the top left, the blue Terran, Sweede. So we'll see if there are any adjustments made in the build for either player. We've got a gas first coming from Sweede. To be honest, I wasn't even paying attention if he went with the gas first variation or Rax first variation. There are very, very slight differences for what he did with a Reaper expansion build. There are very slight differences with gas first and Rax first variations, so it's generally not that big of a deal. The gas first or the Rax first usually just indicates what you want your follow-up to be. Gas first, of course, giving you a slightly later Reaper, but a faster factory. And the Rax first giving you the slightly faster Reaper. So eXile says he thinks this map is pretty balanced. Yeah, I agree. These were at 3 to 5 a.m. Dang. Yeah, so I think you guys know I do not play well late at night. That's why I usually don't ladder at night. I do my ladder sessions in the morning or in the afternoon. And at night, I almost always just play customs. So eXile going with his standard build here. Hatch, gas, pool. Not sure what's up with the music. It's like it's coming and it's going. No idea what the deal is there. Yeah, that's right. You work that graveyard shift. I don't think I could. I mean, I'm sure I could get used to it, but I would not ever want to get used to it. I have a lot of trouble sleeping when it's light. Or if there are any lights on, I need absolute darkness. So Reaper expansion, reactor, factory. We'll see if Sweede does add on another barracks. Go with that 2-1-1 infrastructure. Ouch, losing the Reaper to 2 Zerglings. That actually, it hurts quite a bit. If eXile wants, he can go straight into something like a Baneling bust, and there's pretty much nothing that the Terran could do about it. The one good thing that he has going for him right now is that he did build his command center on the high ground, so he actually doesn't have to worry too much about a bust. And that's another thing too, like if you're not really confident that you're going to keep your Reaper alive, then until you reach that point where it's really rare that you lose your Reaper, then there's nothing wrong with building on the high ground. I would say that as time progresses, as you get better at the game, you definitely want to start looking to put it on the low ground. Just because, I mean, you're losing roughly about, depending on where you put it, but about 15 seconds or so. And when you're doing builds where you want to be really crisp, such as a 2-1-1 build, 15 seconds, I mean, even 5 seconds can make a really big difference. Because it's the difference between you getting in there when the Zerg has Zerglings already out to defend your 2-1-1, or they could still be in the process of being made. But for right now, like I said, not a huge deal, especially if you're not going for a crisp timing. Then in that case, there's nothing wrong with being safe and putting it on the high ground. Stim coming down, should be seeing combat shields simultaneously and a reactor. On eXile's side of the map, getting into his upgrades. So this is the eXile that I know here. Going for the fast upgrades. Baneling Nest on the way after third base. So a more economically minded build from eXile. Definitely want to see that drone count start popping up pretty soon here. But this is a well-timed 1-1. It's actually going to be ahead of the +1 armor of Sweede. The +1 attack is ever so slightly behind. No big deal there. Yeah, eXile, I just don't think that people are meant to sleep while it's late. Roach Warren is in play as well, but again, I was just about to say no roaches yet, but we did have 2 just completed. Got roaches, got a lot of Zerglings, and we've got Banelings. Again, the worker count, though, is definitely an issue of concern for eXile. So the third base has been up for quite a while, but it's virtually no mining, and the natural still has a lot of saturation to be seen. Much saturation to go, I guess you could say. But just something to keep an eye on there. It looks like eXile wants to get out units while he's pumping out drones. 1-1 is about to complete for eXile, and again, this will give him a 1 upgrade advantage for a short time. So this is actually interesting. We see tanks being made for Sweede, and he has not scouted the Roach Warren. To my knowledge, he has not seen any roaches either, so he's just changing up his play a bit here. He does still have a couple of Widow Mines, but just going for tanks, and that will work out much better against Roach Ravager than the Widow Mines would, so that's good. Round of drones coming in now for eXile. He's definitely going to need at least 1 more prior to this upcoming attack. And you know what? I think Sweede is going to drop his tanks right here. In fact, yes, that's what he's going to do. He's going to drop them here, and he's going to creep up here and fire on this mineral line. And that's going to be a big problem for eXile. He does not quite have vision of this. This is right in between the 2 overlords here. So really, really nice attack path taken there by Sweede, and I think he's going to reap the benefits. Army supply is 49-41 in favor of Sweede. Scan goes down at the main. Does see a Roach Warren and Lair. Tanks are getting in position, but eXile has scouted this. I think it may have been in vision of his overlord over here. Really nice job by eXile taking this out. That's actually a tremendous victory there for eXile. That could have been, I don't want to say game ending, but it could have done critical damage if the tank, I believe there were two, if they would have been set up and would have started firing on the drones. That would have been brutal given the relatively low drone count of eXile. He is making a huge wave of lings right now, and he's going right into his 2-2. This is what I was talking about. eXile is usually right on top of his upgrades, so great job here in this game. I'm not sure if the armory has been completed. No, armory has not yet been completed, so there's going to be a significant delay between the 1-1 and the 2-2 of Sweede. And eXile said he's still not used to it and thinks he's going to die, referring to making drones. And yeah, again, like I've said this before, when I off-race as Zerg, that's my main concern as well. And I wish I could give advice on how exactly to do it. If I figure it out in my off-racing, then I'll let you guys know. But it's definitely something that the higher level Zerg players have a really good grasp on. Widowmines get off some really nice shots there, and it's actually a planetary fortress here at the third base. Biles do go down, take out a couple of SCVs, but eXile is going to have to back away here. And again, so about the third base being a planetary, it's actually very similar to what I was talking about with the natural being made in the main base. Similar concept in that as you progress, as you get up into the higher levels, you'll definitely want this to be an orbital because your economy is going to need it. You're going to be behind, significantly behind in workers. But for now, though, especially if you are, if you are worried about being attacked, then this is the safer choice. You do take a significant sacrifice to economy and to scans for clearing creep, but it does keep you very safe against attacks such as the one that we just saw. A couple of scans do go down, verify the third base, check the saturation there, and the scan in the main sees it's still lair tech, but there is an infestation pit. So that's going to be really important, realizing that burrowed infestors could soon be in play. Interestingly enough here, eXile has actually gotten +2 melee, as well as +2 missile attacks, which are about half the way done right now. And if he wants to go for an Ultralisk transition, Hive starts. If he wants to go for an Ultralisk transition, that will serve him really well. But this is going to be a powerful push, a very powerful push, even if it is at 1-1 versus 2-2, just due to the sheer army size. It's a pretty significant army supply advantage when you consider how fragile this composition is. Without roaches, there are a lot of ravagers which are actually really flimsy, and banelings off creep are not great. If this is on creep, it's a different story, but off creep, this is going to be actually a really tough engagement here for eXile. He's doing a decent job so far. The banelings do get in, but there are a lot of marauders here, and I think now we're going to see just how flimsy these ravagers are. The engagement will go to eXile, make no mistake, but he is going to have to remake army, and quite a lot of it. So I'm not really sure who that favored. I think all things considered, it ended up being a better engagement for Sweede. I think so. He's behind in resources lost, but when I say better engagement, I mean that, like, all things considered, again, that was 1-1 versus 2-2, and the Ling Bane were taken out. So, I don't know, maybe I should rephrase how I said that. The engagement favored eXile in terms of the resources lost, as we saw. But given that it was 1-1 versus 2-2, and eXile's army was taken out and he has to remake it now, I do like Swede's position. Especially he is going straight into his 3-3. One thing I will note, though, is that, as I brought up before, the worker count for eXile is satisfactory now. He's right where he needs to be with his workers. He could add some more if he wants, but he definitely doesn't have to. Nice drop here from Sweede. Picks off a queen. He's going to get out. eXile is in good position to push it away. Burrow is about to complete. Tunneling Claws. Pathogen Glands, I would guess, will probably come up pretty soon. I have to imagine that eXile wants to play Burrowed Infestors here. One thing to note, and this is another reason why, again, I kind of like... I don't know. I don't want to say I favor Swede's position here. But if I was in the game, I would be okay with it. So yes, Hive Tech is done. Yes, 3-3 will be finished shortly for eXile. But if there isn't a lot of creep spread to protect the bases, then I still feel confident that I can push. So, I don't know. So maybe looking back when I was evaluating this engagement here, when I was still thinking that, I kind of like this for Sweede, I think it's because I still see a lot of push potential. Now, if eXile starts to really spread creep here, get a lot of creep out in front of these bases, it's going to be a different story, because it's going to make the engagements, it's going to make the pushes much, much harder. And once the Hive Tech units are in play, that will be a really big deal. But as of right now, as long as there's still a relatively low amount of creep, this bio at 3-3 versus 3-3 will be better than the Roach-Ling Bane, or I'm sorry, it's basically Ravager-Ling Bane composition. So that's something to be aware of for eXile. He is getting Infestors out, and Burrow, of course, is already complete, so that's going to be a game changer. It's something Sweede is going to have to be very careful of. A second armory is actually being built, so looks like, yes, okay, we're going to have a lot more factory units here. I do like that double armory a lot. We're going to have double upgrades for the mech units. eXile is posturing now in the center of the map. He is spreading his creep. This is what I like to see here. Really starting to get it underway, and as always, I always like to point out the map vision in eXile's games. He does a fantastic job of this every single game. But I would like to see him poke a little more. Not necessarily with the whole army, but maybe send some lings forward. Find out where your opponent's army is. Yeah, the Overseer is just out of range. But yeah, just keep poking. See if you can get some damage done. See if you can get him to... see if you can pull him out of position and send your main army where his is not, etc. So we'd just like to see a little more activity here from eXile to try to force a mistake from Sweede. That's actually a heck of a lot of army supply there. Plating is being researched. +2 ground attack coming in. And of course that will benefit the tanks and the Thors. Actually, we might not have any tanks anymore now that I think about it. Yeah, so no tanks, so it's just going to be the Thors. Widow Mines, of course, do not benefit from attack upgrades, only plating. Now, eXile is looking for a huge push. Whoa! Widow Mine gets a fantastic shot off here. We're going to have to zoom. Try to get all of the action. The Infestors are... Yeah, I was just about to say they need to get off some fungals. They get off some great fungals there on virtually the entire Terran army. But there is now a surround here. And once again, this goes back to that issue of the Ravagers just being so flimsy. They really need some kind of meat shield in front of them. Otherwise, the bio will just shred them. But yeah, so I did like the push there. But once you have to be super careful not to overcommit. Because once that surround was obtained by Sweede, the Zerg army really just stood no chance, especially without these roaches. I would also like to see Ultralisks in this scenario. They couple very well with Biles and Infestors. Now this is going to be a super strong push just because of the huge number of Marauders. We've got 28 Marauders and 17 Marines. These are perfect fungals by eXile, but we're going to see just how powerful Bio is with medevac support. Not even to mention the fact that there are 4 Thors coming in here as well. Banelings are going to roll in, but these Marauders are so darn powerful. This is what I was talking about too, by the way. The Bio army on equal upgrades against anything Roach based or Ravager based. The Bio army will shred them until that Hive Tech is in play. The Hive Tech units, of course. So meaning Broodlords or Ultralisks with chitinous plating. And those were fantastic fungals there from eXile, but just not enough meat on the ground to follow up. Scans do go down, take out the remaining infestors, and GG is called. Another good game there. Another longer macro game. But yeah, so like I was saying, with Hive Tech in play, without the overextension from eXile and Hive Tech units, I should say, in play, I think the game would continue. So if it was Broodlords or chitinous plating Ultralisks, the game would continue. With that being said, that huge amount of Marauders plus Thors would actually do really well against the Ultralisks. But with if you have Fungal plus those Ultralisks, it doesn't matter how many Marauders you have. If you lock down the whole army and you get those Ultralisks on top of them, the army will go down. So Mishawk Cage had tunnel vision with that engagement and lost my army. His sandwich was really great. Yes, exactly. Yep. And didn't go up to Hive Tech, which is bad on my part. Yeah, Hive, but no tech. Yeah. But that's all right, man. It's just a learning experience. So just a slight overextension when you pushed in. When you pushed in at his third, and he took advantage of it. He did a great job getting the sandwich, and then not getting up to Hive Tech units was sort of what sealed the deal. But he did a great job with the upgrades. Got up to a good drone count, still a bit later than would have been optimal, but it was a better job in that game, getting to a healthy drone count. Just kind of ended up in a less developed army composition. But it was a good game. All right, let's go to game 3 here. I enjoy practicing with him. It helps out a lot to practice new stuff. Absolutely, yeah. I was just saying that to him earlier today. It's great that you guys are practicing together. You're both going to benefit a lot. I think you guys are going to hit diamond together. So, in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, it's our yellow Zerg eXile. His opponent, top left, the blue Terran, Sweede. Gas first again here for Sweede. Now, last week, as I had said earlier, casted a best of 3 between these two, and eXile took it 2-0. in this next best of 3 that I just cast prior to this game here, Sweede took it 2-0. So these two have gone back and forth, exchanged blows. Looking forward to seeing what happens here in this final best of 3. This being game 1 of the next, and as I said, final best of 3. I do like this, Sweede mixing it up with the proxy racks. Now, personally, I'm not a fan of the single proxy racks in TVZ, but I do know a lot of, for a while, not so much anymore, but for a while, a lot of pro gamers, Korean pro gamers, were doing a single proxy racks just for the faster Reaper, and it can certainly get damage done. The only reason why I don't like it is because it doesn't bring that much power compared to a multiple racks build. Whoa. He's actually, wait, what? This is crazy. Alright, but it doesn't bring that much power compared to a multiple racks build. And if you're planning to go bio, you lose a lot of production time. So that's why I don't like it. But again, with that being said, it still certainly can get damage done. And oh, it's actually not even going to be Reapers. This is a really interesting and innovative build here. This is going to be tough to take out. Very tough to take out. eXile has only learned about this since the hatch finished. And with this positioning, it's actually excellent positioning from Sweede. Just abusing the mineral line. And that's going to be brutal for eXile. He's pretty much going to need roaches to take that out. He's not going to get much surface area with Zerglings here. Especially with this SCV there to repair. Factory is complete at home. If he wants, he can actually throw down an expansion. I'm not sure he's going to do that. There it is right there. So yeah, he's going to be fine economically. And eXile is actually making a really interesting choice. Going straight for Lair. Now he's made a lot of Zerglings. And he has made a Roach Warren. The Roach Warren will be what he should use to take this out. Honestly, I don't think he should send the Zerglings to the bunker. He should send the Zerglings here for a counterattack. And in fact, that's exactly what he's doing. So that's a really smart decision there from eXile. This hatch is forfeit, unfortunately, for eXile. But the Roaches will be able to take it out. There's going to be a Lair in play pretty soon. And he might just go for a Nidus. Even if he doesn't go for a Nidus, he could make a Ravager play and start taking out this wall. Evolution Chamber is on the way, so actually these Lings are going to be dropped into the main, which again I think is a great choice. Hatchery is taken out. Overlord pokes in, sees exactly what's going on. Needs to be careful. He's going to be taken out by this second Widow Mine. That would actually be a really nice victory there for Sweede. He is going to get it, and that is going to significantly supply block eXile. That's actually really, really tough. We see he's starting 2 Overlords right now, but he wants to be making Roaches. So that's actually a great pickoff for Sweede. That does a lot of damage. Additional barracks being added, but as we can see here, there are no units in the main base. There are 2 Widow Mines out at the front, and the Marines are here, still at the what used to be the natural of eXile. Lings are going to come into the main, and they're going to get a heck of a lot of damage done because there's just nothing here. There's absolutely nothing here. The SCVs are having to fight the Lings. This is a great counterattack from eXile. And my goodness, he's doing a lot of damage. 13 SCVs go down. Now, the one thing we can say for Sweede in this scenario is that he does have a second orbital already complete. So yes, he did lose 13 SCVs, but he's only behind 5 workers because eXile is only on 1 base. So this is a really crazy game here. It is in fact going to be a Nidus. Sweede has pretty good vision to his base. Only 1 spot here that is uncovered, and he does still have tabs on the natural of eXile. So honestly, if I'm playing this game, I'm thinking the only thing my opponent can do is Nidus me. It's Zerg. Zerg cannot sit on 1 base for a long time. Beautiful scout here from the Marine. In fact, he's going to see all of these roaches, and he's going to see the Nidus network. So an excellent follow-up scout there from Sweede, and this definitely spells trouble for eXile. It is by no means GG, but it's going to be tough to pull this off. The Nidus is just barely in vision of this Widow Mine, and we're going to see how, if at all, Sweede responds. He does have to respond immediately. eXile is going to get the Nidus off without any immediate burst damage. Widow Mine only kills a couple of Zerglings. That's not going to do it for Sweede. And in comes the Zerg Swarm. This is absolutely a one base all in at this point for eXile. He has to make this work. He has to kill pretty much everything that Sweede has. And it looks like he's off to a heck of a start so far. There just isn't enough army supply at home for Sweede to take care of this. +1 attack is actually being finished too. That's just going to make it that much harder for Sweede. I think eXile may have done it. Again, there just is not enough army here. And Hellions are not going to do anything but amuse these roaches. Main base does go down. Infrastructure is falling as well. And there are actually two, oh my goodness, there are 2 SCVs versus 13 drones, but I was just about to say the drones are pulled. The Banshee is lost to the Spore Crawlers. I think that was the last hope for Sweede. Great job there by eXile to get those Spore Crawlers down, and now I think he just gets to clean up the Terran base. So really well done. GG is called. Really well done on the part of eXile to pull off that counterattack. And he was smart to go all in with it. He didn't pull any half measures. He didn't try to get an expansion behind it. He knew how dire his situation was. He was against a 2-base Terran when he was on 1 base. And he knew he had to go, and go he did. Well played there. Yeah, definitely want to get a get a scout on your own natural sometimes when you're playing. Well, heck, I mean when you're playing Terran or Protoss. All right, so we're gonna go into game 4 here, and oops, turn this on. So it is now 1-0 in favor of eXile in this current best of 3. Yeah, keeping your Overlord over your natural against Toss is a really good idea. Can never trust a Protoss, man. Not even Florencia. Heck, especially not Florencia. Alright, in the top center portion of the map, we have the Yellow Zerg coming off of a win in the previous game. eXile. His opponent in the bottom center, the Blue Terran, Sweede. So, I mean, these two are really evenly matched. Just love seeing them practice together. The best thing that you can do is to have a consistent practice partner right at your level, or, you know, it's good. It's the same thing in boxing or boxing, MMA, wrestling, whatever. But it's great to practice with people that are at your level, and of course, you want to practice or spar against people who are above your level. And sometimes it helps to spar and practice against people who are below your level because you get to be more creative. You get to experiment more. So it's good to have a mix of all of those different scenarios. But I definitely think that it's best to put in the most amount of time with people who are at your level or slightly above. And in this case, like I said, these two are evenly matched. So it's great practice for both of them. And with consistent practice and a mind geared toward analysis, there is nothing that will stop you from progressing. Absolutely nothing. So we do have a Reaper on the way here. For Sweede, it's going to expand behind. SCV Scout, I always love to see this. I do it myself almost all of the time. Standard hatch gas pull here from eXile, and by the way, I like Sweede does this quite frequently. He tucks the SCV back instead of sending it straight home, but so we can get a follow-up scout. This Reaper will be able to poke up and get a scout off, but if the Reaper gets pushed away, for example, by a queen and some lings here, that SCV back there can always come back in and get the follow-up scout. So queen about to pop. Reaper's going to come in, be really annoying against the gas drones, but queen is out in time. Zerglings do start to push the Reaper away. Looks like one Zergling will go down, possibly a second. Nice job there. Really good job by Sweede. The problem for him is once he comes out here, he's going to lose that Reaper to the queen. But as I said earlier, he still has this SCV tucked away for the follow-up scout. So it's not the end of the world. Ideally, you want to keep the Reaper alive in as long as possible in all circumstances, but he won't have to worry about being taken by surprise by some kind of reactive 2-base Lingbane all-in, because that SCV could come back in and scout it, which he should do soon, by the way. 3:30 is generally considered to be like the standard time for a third base. Sometimes it will be sooner, and sometimes it will be later. If it's later than 3:30, you should absolutely find out what's going on. You could be up against an all-in. But anyway, like I said, I want to see this SCV poke in shortly to find out what eXile is up to. Overlord Speed is on the way. That's going to allow eXile to get a full scout of the Terran base, which he should look to do as quickly as possible. Because we're getting up. I like a 3:30 scout of the Terran base, 4 minutes at the latest, because as we can see, this is when you get to see all of the infrastructure that matters, and the sooner you see it, the better. So with 3 racks here, with a tank on the way, and with a starport with no add-on, it looks like it's drop play. Honestly, I would not expect Liberator, but it looks like it's going to be some sort of a tank push with a medevac. So possibly like a drop here, and maybe I don't know, tanks here, and a second medevac, or who knows, a Viking, yeah, possibly a Liberator, but high ground vision and a drop, or just a tank dropped somewhere annoying, like right here. But anyway, it's going to be something aggressive. That much is certain, and eXile does get the scout off now. Great job, sees absolutely everything, saw the Marines and the tank, of course, so he should be in good shape here, and Sweede has verified that there is a third base. Now he wants to see exactly what tech he is up against. Is it roaches? Is it Lingbane? What's the timing on the lair? This is all very important information. And from the looks of it, I think Sweede wants to set up a Liberator here with a tank. This is actually something I used the other day. I believe it was against Scars. During a practice session I had against Scars, and it can be really effective. Nice, very fortunate pick off there for Sweede. But yeah, so you get a tank set up right here, get a Liberator set up right here as well, and at the very least it will zone away the queens, could even draw them in, and the tank can finish them off. So this can be a very powerful push. Now if it's dead straight ahead, I don't like it quite as much. just because of how much surface area there is here for the Ling Bane to come in. And in fact, that's exactly what eXile is going to do. He jumps right on this, which is the exact right, it is the correct call, and crushes this quickly. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. When you're going up against Ling Bane, as you guys have probably heard me say many times, I don't like tanks, generally speaking, against Ling Bane, because in areas with lots of surface area here, wide open spaces, oh my goodness, I just heard the Dixie Chicks song on my head. In wide open spaces, the tanks get surrounded very easily by speedlings. So something like this here, tank here with Liberator or Medevac or whatever, anything for high ground vision, that will be much more annoying, harder to extricate for eXile. Doesn't mean it's going to end the game, because it won't. The Ling Bane will clean it up, but there's at the very least going to be lots and lots of lost mining time from a drone pool, and in all likelihood, quite a few drones will go down, and possibly a queen or two as well. Scan goes down on both bases. I like that, so he saw there was no lair here, so he scans again to get confirmation on the tech, and it looks like he just misses this macro hatch. That's not a big deal. He saw the lair. He already knew Banelings were in play. He sees double evolution chamber, so probably realizes he's not going to be up against anything crazy just yet. I like doing that now. 2 Lings at natural and main with queen. Easier to trap that Reaper. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a good move. So we've got a bit of a passive period now as both players macro up. Really like this 4th base timing here from eXile. Would like to see him get the creep spread in that direction as quickly as possible. It's going to help him defend. +2 melee attack on the way. +1 carapace about to finish up. Take a look at the worker count. 42 to 40. I would definitely like to see a lot of drones added now, especially when you convincingly take out your opponent's army like that. A tank, a Liberator, and there are probably roughly 8 to 10 Marines. That early in the game, you know your opponent has invested a lot in that attack. He can't possibly have a follow-up attack immediately after, so that's the best time to go with a huge round of drones. Actually have a round of 15 drones right there. Couple of scans going down. Looks like these are primarily tech scans, possibly wanting to see a Spire, Infestation Pit. As we can see, Sweede is not aware that a 4th base is now in play. Upgrade situation does significantly favor eXile here. I'm not sure if we have an armory. Okay, yes, we do actually have an armory, and +2 attack has just begun. +1 armor, pretty close to finishing. Hydralisk Den with muscular augments being researched. Planetary Fortress morphing in at the 3rd. And a 3rd evolution chamber. Actually, sometimes I like to do this myself as Zerg, especially if I'm preparing a hive transition and I want to maintain the melee upgrades while getting the missile upgrades underway. Usually, if I'm going with Hydralisks, of course Roaches as well, but Roaches don't scale all that well. Hydralisks are just kind of all that, or Hydralisks are just kind of great all throughout the game. So this is quite a force of Hydraling Bane here. Would like to see maybe some more Banelings. Gas is a bit low right now. I'm not sure if we have full... Okay, that's why it's low. And it looks like, yeah, eXile realizes that himself right now as well. But yeah, we'd definitely like to see some more Banelings added in. This is a very formidable unit composition. Liberator is going to... Yep, he's going to get the scout off on this 4th base. At the very least, he's going to see the creep. I think he's going to see the base itself. Both players just postured defensively for now. No very clear advantage for either one. As I said before, the upgrade situation does favor eXile, but Hive is not yet on the way, so once this 2-2 is complete, then Sweede will be free to gain the upgrade advantage for himself. Some drones are going to go down here, and this is still a pretty low drone count for this stage of the game, so eXile definitely wants to remake a lot of drones there. We'd like to get up around 70. Spore crawlers are in place, but they're not going to protect the gas drones, so there could be a few more going down here. The Hydralisks, though, will be able to take this out. +2 attack is now finished for the bio. Another scan goes down, sees the spore crawlers, sees the infestation pit, sees there is still no hive. Scanning for the gold base, I like this as well. You always want to know if a Zerg is on a gold base. That's important information to have. And I have a feeling that we're going to see just one huge clash of armies that will decide this game. Just with the way that both players are so defensively postured and getting their upgrades. It looks like both of them want to take it to the late game and meet in the center of the map in all likelihood and duke it out. So it looks like eXile is going to be the aggressor here. He's going to morph in a lot of Banelings, 20 Banelings. He already has 16 at the moment, so this is going to be a really brutal force. Now there are 5 Widow Mines set here with Liberation Zones as well. So this could be dangerous. You know, if eXile just A moves in here, he could sustain heavy losses. He's gonna have to be pretty careful with how he engages this. It looks like he wants to come from this bottom angle. He's gonna move right up into the Terran army. Stim goes down. The Marines do move back. Widow Mines do get their shots off, but the Banelings rolled straight into the Marines. Excellent connections so far for eXile. Hydras come in and immediately clean up the Liberators. They have a nice concave as well on the Marines, so the Marines are going to go down. The medevacs are going to go down. This planetary fortress will most likely go down too. The Hydras just have so much DPS, and there aren't enough SCVs here to repair. An extremely successful attack here for eXile. Hit very shortly before the 3-3 of Sweede was finished, and without tanks, I don't think that this can be held. Marines are sort of just trickling out here and there. It's not going to be nearly enough. With that being said, though, there is a double drop in the main base of eXile. These Marines are probably going to take out a good amount of Zerglings. I don't think they're going to take out all of them. It's going to be really close. The Queens with the support, I think, are going to be enough to sway this, but not if they don't take out the medevacs first. So we actually have a quasi-base trade. Hydras are in the base of Sweede, and this double drop is still alive in the base of eXile. I just think that the economy is too strong right now for eXile. With that being said, mules are mining at the gold base. Take a look at the income. It's actually a slight lead here for Sweede, and he backs off once the reinforcing wave of Zergling comes in. Hydras are still just going to town. No production going on. Huge bank, but no production for Sweede. He's actually pulling his SCVs right now. But yeah, he really needs to produce, and he needs to pull all of his units here. Even then, I don't think it's going to be enough. The Zerg economy is just too strong right now. Hydra's pushing through. They're actually going to start clearing the production. I think this is going to be the critical blow here. When Terran loses production, that 9 times out of 10, that is GG. So even with the gold base there, if you can't spend your money, it's no good to you. Marines getting back to work, but there isn't too much there to be killed, and what there is there to be killed is going to take too long of a time to do it. So yeah, no drones for the most part. The drones are down here, and the important tech is down here as well. But most importantly for eXile, it's that he has this base still mining, and this base is fresh. Hydra's going to continue to do their job. I think they're going to be the MVPs this game, taking out the base, took out the third base, took out the army. Baneling's got phenomenal connections on the Marines, and the drop is finally pushed away. I'm out. GG is called. GG indeed. Well played there by eXile. Takes this second series 2-0. So these guys are really going back and forth. 2-0 for eXile, 2-0 for Sweede, and then in this final one, 2-0 for eXile. Well played games.